Welcome back to the Stoic journey. Today, we're tackling a truth that hits like a storm. What really happens when you disappear from their lives? I'm not talking about taking a short break or stepping back slightly. I'm talking about vanishing entirely. It's about removing yourself from their daily routine so completely it feels like you've become a ghost. Why? Because sometimes, to be truly seen, you must first become invisible. Think about this. How often have you felt like just another character in someone else's narrative, playing a supporting role in their personal story without any acknowledgement of your own? It's exhausting, isn't it? Constantly being the one who cares more, gives more, does more, only to be taken for granted. But here's where we change the script. When you disappear, when you erase your presence from their life, you force them to confront the void that your absence leaves behind. It's a void filled with questions, confusion, and the dawning realization of your worth. Imagine their shock. Yesterday, you were their reliable constant, the one who would always be there, no matter how they treated you. But today, you're gone. No text, no call, no trace of you. It's as if the earth has swallowed you whole. What we're aiming for here is not petty revenge. It's about teaching a lesson in value and respect through the stark lens of Stoic wisdom. This sudden disappearance is your powerful statement. It's your nonverbal way of saying, I am worth more. When you choose to step away, you disrupt their narrative. You remove yourself from the equation, and by doing so, you shift the entire balance of power. They wake up to a world where you don't orbit around them anymore. Your absence becomes a mirror, reflecting back to them the part they played in pushing you away. What happens next is almost theatrical. The realization hits them hard, like a spotlight suddenly focused on an actor who forgot their lines. They start to miss the comfort you brought, the laughter, the support, the mere presence of you. They are left grappling with the silence, the empty space where you used to be. This isn't just about missing you. It's about them coming to terms with their dependency on the role you played. As they reach for their phone to find no new messages, as they wait for calls that never come, the panic sets in. Their comfort zone crumbles, revealing a stage they never learned to play alone. This is when the chase begins. Not because you manipulated the situation, but because they finally started to see your true worth. They realize that they they need you back. Not out of habit, but out of a newfound appreciation and respect. So, as you watch from the wings of your new life, where you are the lead, not the understudy, you will see them trying to rewrite the script. Texts, calls, pleas for your return. All signs that your disappearance has taught them the lesson you hoped it would. You are not to be taken for granted. This strategy isn't about cruelty. It's about clarity. It's about showing that your presence in their life was a privilege, not a given. And if they want you back, they must understand this new dynamic, where you set the terms. This is the power of stepping back. This is how you teach them to value you by absence rather than presence. So, are you ready to take that step? Are you prepared to pull the curtain on their complacency and step into a role that respects and values your worth? If you are, drop "I'm ready" in the comments below. Let's embrace this Stoic tactic together, empowering ourselves to be seen not as constants, but as cherished presences. Remember, in the theater of life, sometimes the best way to be appreciated is to step off the stage and let them face the empty spotlight. Before we dive into these powerful Stoic tactics, make sure to hit that subscribe button and join our community. We're all about reclaiming your power, building your self-worth, and creating relationships where you are valued. Now, we're about to uncover the 7 surprising reasons that will make them chase you down the moment you disappear from their world. Trust me, you don't want to miss this. So subscribe and turn on notifications to stay updated on all the ways you can elevate your life and relationships with Stoic wisdom. Let's take back control, starting now. Number 1. The panic of sudden silence. When you make the deliberate decision to disappear from someone's life, you create an echoing void where once there was a constant stream of interaction. This void, this sudden silence, can strike deep into the heart of their daily routine, leaving a palpable sense of panic in its wake. It's a bold move, and its impact is profound. As the Stoic philosopher Epictetus once advised, silence is often the loudest voice. When you choose to retreat into silence, you speak volumes without uttering a single word. Imagine the day-to-day certainty they felt with you around. Messages exchanged, calls made, the reassuring presence of someone who has always been a reliable part of their life. Now suddenly, it's all gone. There's no good morning text, no casual banter to break the midday lull, no good night call to cap off the evening. The phone remains dark, and the notifications are eerily absent. This sudden halt in communication isn't just inconvenient, it's jarringly disconcerting. The panic of sudden silence isn't just about the absence of noise, it's about the absence of you. As humans, we are creatures of habit, and when a habitual source of emotional engagement and support vanishes, it triggers a deep-seated psychological alarm. The first few hours may pass with mild concern, but as hours turn into days, the concern escalates into a full-blown panic. They are left to wonder, question, and doubt why the silence has descended so suddenly. This shift can rattle even the most composed individual, stirring up an internal chaos that is hard to quiet. Seneca, another Stoic philosopher, once said, "Our fears are always more numerous than our dangers." The fears invoked by your silence can magnify in their mind, constructing scenarios far worse than the reality. They might wonder if they said something wrong, if you're in trouble, or if perhaps you've decided they're no longer worth your time. The lack of closure, the open-endedness of your disappearance torments them. They are left grappling with unresolved emotions and unanswered questions, which can feel more daunting than any explicit confrontation. This psychological turmoil is intensified by the digital age, where the presence of someone is often felt through their digital interactions. A sudden cessation of digital communication is stark and alarming. Every unreturned message is a reminder of their growing unease, and every attempt to reach out that meets with silence compounds their sense of loss and confusion. The panic of sudden silence tests their emotional resilience. It makes them question their value and their impact on your life. Was their presence so superficial that you could so easily erase yourself from their day-to-day existence? Herein lies the crux of this tactic. It forces a reflection that is often avoided in the humdrum of regular communication. It pushes them to confront the possibility that they may not have been as attentive, as appreciative, or as present in your relationship as they should have been. This sudden silence doesn't just evoke panic, it invokes a profound reevaluation of the relationship. It's a wake-up call that what they had was not guaranteed, that it required effort and reciprocity. As Marcus Aurelius remarked, "Look well into thyself. There is a source of strength which will always spring up if thou wilt always look." In their search for this strength, they begin to realize the importance of your role in their lives, a role they took for granted until it was retracted. The power of your absence serves as a stark reminder that they need to value the people in their life while they are there. It teaches them about the fragility of connections and the effort needed to maintain them. It makes them recognize that if they want you back, they need to come chasing after you, not out of desperation, but out of a sincere desire to not let the silence settle between you permanently. Drop this powerful affirmation in the comments. My absence matters, and my silence is power. Own it, feel it, and let the world know you're no longer chasing approval. Your silence speaks louder than any words ever could. Number 2, awakening to appreciation. When you choose to step back and let silence fill the space between you and another, it's not just about creating distance. It's about fostering an environment where they can truly come to appreciate your worth. This absence, especially after a sudden disappearance, acts like a stark reminder of all that you contributed to their lives, illuminating your value in the contrast of your absence. As the Stoic philosopher Epictetus put it, wealth consists not in having great possessions, but in having few wants. When you disappear, you highlight the wants and needs you fulfilled, often unnoticed until they are unmet. In the hustle of everyday interactions, small acts of kindness, support, and companionship can be overlooked. Perhaps it was your morning texts that started their day on a positive note, your insightful advice during crisis, or simply the way you listened, an anchor in their often chaotic world. These might seem minor when woven into the routine of daily life, but their absence leaves a gaping hole. This realization often doesn't dawn until the routine is broken, until the person who maintained these small yet significant rituals vanishes. When you step away, the automaticity of their days crumbles. Morning coffees are less comforting without your good morning message. Successes feel less sweet without your congratulatory note. Challenges feel more daunting without your supportive words. They begin to experience a day stripped of your presence, which used to lighten their burdens and enhance their joys. Suddenly, the texture of their daily life feels rougher, the days longer, and the workload heavier, all because your supportive presence is missing. This awakening to appreciation is not merely about missing the comforts you offered. It's a deep, often painful acknowledgement of how much you mattered. It's about realizing that the equilibrium of their emotional landscape was, in large part, maintained by you. They start to see how your presence was not just an addition to their life, but a foundation that helped stabilize their world. The Roman Stoic Seneca wrote, "Most powerful is he who has himself in his own power. By disappearing, you demonstrate control over your participation in their lives, compelling them to recognize your autonomy and the deliberate nature of your past contributions." This forced reflection often brings with it a surge of appreciation and an urgent desire to regain not just the benefits of your companionship, but the relationship itself. Now seen in a new light, they recognize that more than just missing the things you did, they miss the essence of who you are to them. This is a crucial turning point where the taken-for-granted familiarity is replaced by a renewed respect and a desire to ensure they do not make the same mistake of underappreciation if given another chance. Moreover, the shift from habitual interaction to reflective appreciation can inspire them to become better partners or friends. Confronted with the reality of your absence, they are likely to reflect not only on what they have lost, but also on why they lost it. It is a learning moment where the pain of missing the small daily interactions is compounded by the realization of missing the chance to have appreciated them fully when they were available. This process of awakening to appreciation, thus, serves a dual purpose. It highlights your value vividly through its absence, and teaches them the importance of gratitude and active engagement in relationships. They learn that to keep someone valuable in their lives, they must be present, appreciative, and reciprocative. As they chase you back, it is not just to fill the void you left, but to correct the oversight of not having valued you enough when you were there. In conclusion, by disappearing and letting them experience the weight of your absence, you catalyze an essential transformation, an awakening to appreciation that reshapes their understanding and valuation of your presence in their life. This is not a lesson taught through words, but through the compelling, undeniable rhetoric of absence, proving that sometimes the most profound appreciations are born in the silences we dare to allow. Fear of loss. The fear of loss disappearing from someone's life isn't just about stepping away. It's about instigating a profound internal struggle within them. The fear of loss. This fear isn't merely about missing your presence. It's the terrifying prospect of losing you to someone else, or worse, losing you forever. This fear can turn the calmest sea into a storm of desperation, making them realize just how much they need to hold on to what they might have taken for granted. When you vanish without a trace, it's as if you've suddenly become a precious commodity that might slip through their fingers. Seneca, a Stoic philosopher, once said, "We suffer more often in imagination than in reality." In their mind, the scenarios of loss play out vividly, each more daunting than the last. They might imagine you finding solace in the company of others, or they might picture you moving on and leaving the past behind, including them. This fear is not just about the absence, it's about the finality and completeness of it. This fear is deeply ingrained in our human psyche. We are programmed to cling tighter when we sense that we're about to lose something important. The psychological term for this is loss aversion. We often value something more when we are in danger of losing it, and this is precisely what happens when you disappear. You become the person they cannot afford to lose. Your absence becomes a glaring reminder of every moment they should have valued more, every opportunity they missed to show they cared. Moreover, the fear of loss compels them to reconsider your worth and importance in their lives. It forces them to reevaluate how they have been treating you versus how they should have been treating you. This introspection can lead to a significant shift in how they view the relationship, igniting a desire to prove they can be the partner you deserve. This is a crucial turning point, one that might make them chase after you with renewed fervor and commitment. This fear also exposes their vulnerabilities, stripping away any facade of indifference they might have shown. As Epictetus said, "It's not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters." Their reaction to your disappearance will reveal their true feelings. If they truly value you, the fear of losing you will catalyze them into action. They won't just sit back and hope for your return. They will actively seek you out, trying to address whatever issues led to your departure. The fear of loss transforms their perception of the relationship dynamics. No longer are they the central figure with you orbiting around them. Instead, they start to see themselves as part of a duo where both partners are equally important. This change in perspective can be powerful enough to break old habits and foster a more balanced and respectful partnership. As they chase you back, driven by this fear, they are not just looking to reclaim what was once theirs. They are looking to prove that they have changed, that they can appreciate and cherish your presence like never before. This is not about manipulation or playing games. It's about showing them the consequence of taking someone for granted and the lengths they need to go to rectify their mistake. In summary, The fear of loss is a powerful motivator. It taps into deep-seated emotions and drives people to act in ways they might not have considered when they felt secure. By disappearing, you allow them to confront this fear head-on, which can lead to a more profound appreciation and a stronger, more committed relationship upon your return. Increased perceived value. In the game of human connections, absence doesn't just make the heart grow fonder, it amplifies value. As the Stoic philosopher Epictetus once put it, "If you wish to be valued, make yourself scarce." When you choose to step back and disappear from their lives, you aren't just taking yourself away, you're elevating how you are perceived in their eyes. This perceived increase in your value is a potent reason they will chase you when you disappear. Let's delve deeper into this concept. Every day, we engage with numerous people, often without pausing to consider their true worth in our lives. This familiarity breeds complacency in relationships, especially familiarity that can lead to one's contributions and qualities being taken for granted. When you are always available, always responsive, and predictably supportive, you may inadvertently set a standard that your value is constant, unchanging, like background noise that's always expected but seldom consciously appreciated. However, when you disappear, you shake them from this complacency. The sudden absence highlights how much you contributed to their daily happiness and well-being. Each unreturned call, each unresponded message, and each missed routine that once included you now echoes louder in the vacuum you've left behind. The silence left by your absence serves as a stark contrast to your previous availability and their taken-for-granted assumptions about your place in their life. Seneca said, "Absence sharpens love, presence strengthens it." In your absence, not only does the love or appreciation they have for you sharpen, but their perception of your overall value skyrockets. They begin to remember and miss the small kindnesses, the comforting presence, and the sense of security you provided. The scarcity of your presence makes each memory of you more precious, and each thought of you more poignant. This heightened value comes from the fear of loss, a powerful motivator that drives people to act in your absence. They face the potential permanence of this loss, which can lead them to reevaluate not just their feelings, but the value they placed on you while you were there. The fear that they may not be able to regain what was lost can trigger a proactive response. This is not about playing games, it's about allowing them to realize on their own that what they had was rare and worth fighting for. Moreover, the psychological principle known as the endowment effect comes into play here. This principle posits that people ascribe more value to things merely because they own them, or in relational terms, because they have a personal emotional investment in them. Once you withdraw, the realization that they might lose something they own can make them perceive you as more valuable than ever before. Suddenly, you're not just another person in their life. You're someone whose absence signifies a significant loss. Your disappearance also creates a vacuum that no one else can fill in the same way. This uniqueness of your role in their life becomes glaringly apparent when you're gone. The irreplaceable memories, the shared secrets, the understanding smiles, all these elements that defined your unique place in their life become highlighted. They start to understand that these are not easily replicable with someone else, which enhances your perceived value further. In the wake of this newfound appreciation, the dynamics of your relationship are likely to shift. When you reappear or when they reach out to bridge the gap, they do so with a greater acknowledgement of your worth. They are more likely to put in the effort, more likely to express their appreciation, and more likely to value your presence actively rather than passively. Ultimately, your decision to step back and disappear, guided by a Stoic assessment of your own worth and the desire for a balanced appreciation, not only resets their perception of your value, but also sets a new foundation for how they interact with you going forward. In recognizing your absence's impact, they learn a valuable lesson in gratitude and the irreplaceable nature of genuine connections, leading them to chase after you, not just out of desire, but out of a deep-seated respect for what you bring to their lives. Respect for autonomy. In the intricate dance of relationships, stepping back and disappearing can dramatically highlight a pivotal truth often overlooked: your autonomy and independence. By removing yourself from the daily equation of someone's life, you force them to confront not only your absence, but the power and control you possess over your own life. This act of withdrawal is not merely about creating distance. It's a profound demonstration of self-respect and an assertion of your independence, which in turn can fundamentally shift how they perceive and value you. The Stoic philosopher Epictetus once stated, "No man is free who is not master of himself." When you choose to disappear, you epitomize this principle. You reclaim mastery over your life decisions and emotional well-being. This self-mastery is attractive and often awakens a renewed respect and desire in those you've left pondering your absence. They see you not as an entity waiting to respond or react to their whims, but as a complete individual, a person with the agency and self-determination to choose silence over discord or indifference. This newfound respect arises because autonomy and independence are inherently attractive qualities. They signify strength, confidence, and the capacity to navigate life on your own terms. When you demonstrate these qualities by choosing to step away, you inherently elevate your state in the eyes of those who may have taken your presence for granted. It's a wake-up call that you are not an orbiting satellite in their universe, but rather a star in your own right, following your path and capable of shining without their presence. Furthermore, your disappearance forces a reevaluation of the dynamics that define the relationship. If they were used to leading or having the upper hand, your absence and the autonomy it demonstrates disrupt this balance. It introduces an element of unpredictability and challenge. They must now grapple with the reality that they are not the center of your world, and that you have the power to continue happily without them. This can lead to a chase, born not out of a desire to simply have you back, but out of a profound respect for the person you are and the boundaries you have set. The power of your autonomy extends beyond mere respect. It acts as a mirror, reflecting their dependencies and insecurities. It forces them to question why they relied so heavily on your constant presence and approval. This introspection can be uncomfortable but necessary for growth, both individually and within the context of the relationship. As they reflect, they begin to understand that true respect in a relationship comes from recognizing and valuing each other's independence and individuality. Your choice to disappear and assert your independence also serves as a crucial reminder of the Stoic idea that external opinions and validations are not what define us. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "Very little is needed to make a happy life. It is all within yourself, in your way of thinking." By disappearing, you underline this philosophy. You show that your happiness and sense of self do not rely on them or their perceptions, but on your internal state and choices. This realization can transform the way they see and interact with you. Upon your return, the respect garnered through your autonomy encourages a more balanced and healthy dynamic. where both parties recognize and appreciate the strength and completeness of the other. It changes the game from one of dependency and taken for granted familiarity to one of mutual respect and admiration. In sum, when you disappear and let them witness firsthand your ability to exist, thrive, and maintain happiness independently, you inspire not only a chase driven by a fear of loss, but a chase motivated by respect and the desire to genuinely be part of your life without diminishing your light. They come to understand that being with you is a privilege that requires appreciation, effort, and a respect that honors your autonomy. Thus, by choosing to step back, you do not just create space, you create an opportunity for them to come forward in ways that honor and elevate the relationship to new heights of mutual respect and understanding. You teach them that true connection is about appreciating each other's individuality and supporting each other's freedom, making the bond not a cage of dependency, but a shared journey of growth and respect. Reversal of roles. In the dynamics of any relationship, the balance of who seeks attention and who gives it often defines its rhythm. When you decide to disappear, this balance is disrupted, leading to a dramatic reversal of roles. Traditionally, if you have been the more invested or attentive one, this shift can be quite jarring for the other party. As Seneca once said, "Every new beginning comes from some other beginning's end." In this context, your withdrawal marks the end of your old role and the inception of a new dynamic, where they must step into the role of seeker. This reversal is not just about who texts whom first or who makes plans. It's about a deeper psychological shift. When you have consistently been the giver, the one who reassures, plans, and comforts, they become accustomed to a certain level of emotional support and predictability. Your presence is a given, something they rely on, perhaps even take for granted. When this dependable presence suddenly vanishes, the taken for granted comfort it provided disappears alongside it. The first impact of this absence is confusion. This confusion stems from their sudden need to adapt to an unexpected change in the status quo. As Marcus Aurelius pointed out, you have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength. However, in this scenario, the strength they need to find is not just mental, but emotional. They need to muster the courage and insight to realize why the change has occurred and what they might have done to cause it. As days pass, this confusion transforms into a realization. The comfort of passive participation in the relationship is no longer available. They must now take an active role if they wish to re-establish contact. This realization often breeds a sense of urgency. No longer can they afford to be passive recipients of your affection and effort. They must now reciprocate those actions if they wish to regain your presence in their lives. This urgency leads to the third stage, action. Action, in this context, means reaching out, initiating conversations, making plans, and showing interest and investment that perhaps was lacking before. This change is not merely behavioral, but attitudinal. They start to appreciate more profoundly the efforts you made, efforts they must now emulate. It's a role reversal that teaches them not only about your value, but also about the effort required to maintain a meaningful connection. The psychological impact of this reversal can be profound. It can lead to a greater appreciation of your qualities and the role you played in their lives. It can also lead to a better understanding of the dynamics of give and take that healthy relationships require. This new understanding can deepen the emotional connection, making the relationship more balanced and mutually satisfying. Moreover, This reversal of roles can lead to greater self-awareness on their part. As they step into the role of the chaser, they may begin to confront their vulnerabilities and insecurities, feelings they might have previously masked or ignored. This vulnerability can lead to personal growth, making them not only more appreciative partners, but also more self-aware individuals. The effort they now need to invest can also lead to a reevaluation of their priorities. If they decide to chase you, it reflects a recognition that you are worth the effort. This decision is significant. It marks a transition from taking you for granted to viewing you as someone essential in their life, someone worth pursuing. Finally, this reversal can solidify the relationship's foundations. If they successfully step into their new role, by experiencing both sides of the chase, both partners can develop a more empathetic understanding of each other's emotional landscapes. This empathy can foster a deeper, more resilient bond, one that is likely to withstand future challenges with greater mutual respect and understanding. In essence, when you disappear and prompt them to chase you back, you catalyze a powerful transformation within the relationship. This transformation is not just about who calls whom, but about a fundamental shift in how they view and value you and the relationship. It's a profound lesson wrapped in a simple act of disappearance, teaching them that true appreciation often follows the fear of loss, and genuine effort follows the realization of one's mistakes. Reversing the power dynamic. In the dance of relationships, power dynamics play a subtle yet crucial role. When you consistently make yourself available and accommodating, you inadvertently place the power in their hands. They become accustomed to your responsiveness, taking for granted that you will always be there, always answer, always respond. But what happens when you suddenly disappear? This act can drastically reverse the power dynamics, shifting the balance and forcing them to confront the change. This is not just about playing hard to get. It's about reestablishing your worth and making them realize that your presence in their life is a privilege, not a given. The Stoic philosopher Epictetus once said, "No man is free who is not master of himself." By choosing to step away, you reclaim mastery over yourself and your emotional world. This move is not about manipulation, but about self-respect and self-preservation. It serves as a critical reminder that you control your actions and decisions, and one of those decisions can be to withdraw your presence when it's undervalued. When you disappear, the immediate effect is the realization on their part that they are no longer in control of the interaction. They can no longer dictate when you will speak, how you will respond, or even if you will be there. The absence of your presence, your messages, your attention, it all creates a vacuum they must now grapple with. This loss of control and the uncertainty it breeds can be profoundly unsettling. This shift often triggers a significant emotional and psychological response. Anxiety may set in as they wonder why you've gone silent. Was it something they said? Something they did? The lack of immediate answers can turn into an obsession, with them ruminating over every last interaction, looking for clues, for reasons. Here, they begin to chase, not necessarily out of love or desire initially, but out of a need to regain control, to return to the status quo where they felt secure in knowing you were there, just a message away. As Marcus Aurelius, another Stoic sage, noted, "Very little is needed to make a happy life. It is all within yourself, in your way of thinking." When you shift your thinking from needing their validation to valuing your peace and respect, you manifest a different energy, one that is more attractive and compelling than the ever-available, ever-eager persona. This energy signals to them that they need to step up if they wish to regain your attention. They must now put in the effort, show the initiative, and demonstrate the value they place on having you in their lives. The tables are turned. They are now the ones seeking approval, validation, and a response. Furthermore, your disappearance highlights your independence and self-sufficiency. It proves that you are capable of being alone, of leading a fulfilling life without them. This independence can be incredibly attractive. It challenges any perceptions they may have had of you as needy or clingy. Instead, you emerge as someone who has options, who has a life full of interests and engagements that do not revolve solely around them. This realization can reignite interest and attraction as they now see you as a partner who complements their life, not just someone who fills a void. This newfound respect and desire are potent motivators. As they chase you, the dynamic continues to evolve. They no longer take your presence for granted because they've experienced your absence. They've felt the discomfort of not knowing, the fear of loss, and the challenge of winning you back. Each of these feelings teaches them not to underestimate your presence again. In your absence, they learn a valuable lesson in reciprocity and appreciation. They come to understand that relationships are not about power, but about mutual respect and balance. Your return, if you choose to return, will then set a new tone for the relationship, one where the power dynamic is more balanced, and both parties are more aware of and grateful for each other's contributions. By disappearing and watching how they chase you back, you not only reverse the power dynamics, but also establish a healthier, more balanced foundation for your relationship. This act of stepping back is not just a temporary tactic, but a profound move toward cultivating a relationship where both individuals are equally invested and equally valued. Conclusion: disappearing from someone's life can feel like a risky move, but when done for the right reasons, it can have a profound impact. By stepping away, you create space for them to feel the weight of your absence, and in that void, they realize just how much your presence meant. This is not about playing games or manipulating emotions. It's about reclaiming your worth and demanding the respect and value you deserve. The panic of sudden silence hits them hard. They've become so used to having you around that when you vanish, it's a shock to their system. The void you leave behind forces them to question their own actions and, more importantly, their own feelings. In the midst of this silence, they're left with the overwhelming fear of losing you for good, triggering a chase they didn't expect. Your absence also serves as a powerful mirror, reflecting back their own behavior. They begin to see how they might have taken you for granted, neglected your worth, or assumed you'd always be there. This reflection can awaken them to their own shortcomings, making them appreciate what they had only after it's gone. This act of disappearing also demonstrates your autonomy. It's a reminder that your life doesn't revolve around anyone else, and that your happiness, peace, and well-being come from within. The idea that you can exist, thrive, and be happy without them is a powerful lesson in independence and self-worth. When you finally reappear, you do so with the understanding that they must now chase you, not out of obligation, but because they truly want to be in your life. The dynamics shift from one of dependency to one of mutual respect and understanding. The chase becomes an opportunity for growth and for building a healthier, more balanced relationship.